Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm not outside Old Trafford. I'm in the studio, which means one thing and one thing alone. It's live. Get involved in the comments. Get involved in the chat. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news or anything else you want to talk about. This is your platform. You can tell us anything you want. Let us know what your thoughts are. We've got loads to get through. As you can see from the thumbnail, there's some loan moves potentially afoot. A loan move agreed. Is it going to happen? We'll get to that in a minute. There's also a Paul Pogba story, because what would life be without stories about Paul Pogba? And don't worry, we've got one. So we'll get into all that. We'll start off with Anthony Martial. So Anthony Martial apparently has agreed to go on loan to Sevilla. Right, okay, fine. I think we're at a point here now where even Martial FC, if you can call them that, their enthusiasm for Martial is beginning to wane a little bit. I think they've begun to realise that it's just not happening for him. He obviously wants to go. He's more or less said that to Ralph Rangnick. It looks like Ralph Rangnick is happy to let him go. And I think we're at the point where it's best for all concerned if Anthony Martial does move on. It's better for him and it's better for Manchester United. And it is a bit sad for me, because I remember his debut. It was there at Old Trafford when he obviously scored that goal against the Scousers. Scored the goal at Wembley in the semi-final, of course, against Everton, the FA Cup semi-final. He's had some great moments. Scored in the derby, scored a few goals in the derby. I remember the one where we won 2-0 with McTominay got the late one. It was Anthony Martial opened the scoring. So there's been moments and there's been trophies, but there haven't been trophies recently, and there's been even fewer moments recently as well. He had that great season a couple of seasons ago, didn't he, where he got 23 goals in all comps. Last season, almost disastrous, if we're being brutally honest. 4 Premier League goals for a player of the calibre of Anthony Martial isn't good enough. Let's just be honest about that. Yes, there's mitigating circumstances with he's been in and out of the team, but you expect a bit more. So it looks like he's going to go, and Sevilla have come in for him. And I think that says a little bit. It says a bit, that, doesn't it, about where Anthony Martial is at the minute. Because I think that if this was like 2 years ago or a year ago, if Anthony Martial was available, I think the big guns are coming in for him. I think the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona and Juve and those types of teams are looking at him going, Anthony Martial, mid-20s, still got a lot to offer, just scored 23 goals, great on the ball, fantastic player, can step up in big games. I'll have a bit of that. But he's had such a bad sort of 14, 15 months, whatever it's been, that his star has dimmed somewhat, shall we say. And now Sevilla, who are a decent team, we know that. We obviously got, we know that from the Europa League, don't we, a couple of seasons ago. But they're not at the very, very top of European football, which is where you'd have thought Anthony Martial would have ended up a couple of seasons ago if he left United. So that sort of speaks to where he's at as well. It looks like he's agreed with the loan move. He's happy to go to Spain. He's happy to go there. But United and Sevilla are stalling. That's the sort of the latest update, is that United want, I think it's around 6 million quid as a loan fee. They want his wages paying, and Sevilla are looking at that and going, well, you should pay some of his wages because it's your fault. You've given all your players massive contracts that no one else can afford to pay them. So there is a little bit of an impasse there. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It might get to the point where United go, okay, we'll take a bit of a hit on his wages because we want to get some money for a player that isn't playing for us, or Sevilla just walk away. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It could go either way, that one. As always, we'll keep you posted. I'm just going to get into some of the comments here. Chris Sturgis says, hey, Jay, I won on day 2 of 12 Days of Paddock, but still haven't an email yet. Chris, we will get you in touch with you today. We're going to do that today. Yeah. Producer Baggers is giving me a thumbs up. Yeah, so, Chris, don't worry. We'll get in touch with you today. Morris Varela says, tell Ryan I hate him. PlayStation 5. Yeah, if you've not been watching, we do the 12 Days of Paddock giveaway, and Ryan Burns last night won a PlayStation 5 as part of that giveaway. Go and check out the members section if you've not done already, and you can win some prizes there on the giveaway, and also you get a little bit of extra content. Callum Skaman in the comments says, morning lads. Chris Sergi says, thanks mate, keep up with the good work. Kim Hawkins, this is a good point, says, it would be a shambles if no players come in this window. Yes, it would be. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Also, Jake Driver says, a loan does nothing for us, in my opinion. They will get 6 months out of him and then say they can't match his wages. I mean, how do you want to look at it? Is he going to get game time at Manchester United at the minute? I don't think he is. I genuinely think he's about 5th in the pecking order. And that sounds crazy for a player who was our first choice striker a year ago. But I think you look at Ronaldo, Cavani, Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford. even the likes of, I know he can play in the middle, Martial, but even the likes of maybe Elanga are sort of ahead of him in the pecking order. I just feel like he's going to struggle to get any game time. So maybe that will sort of lead to him moving on. We'll move on as well, because it's not just about Anthony Martial. There's the other story doing the rounds regarding United's attackers is about Edinson Cavani. Now, Cavani's been linked with a move away for a couple of months, and I did the transfer review about 3 weeks ago, and it looked like he was going to go to Barcelona, and I actually gave it a rating. We give ratings for the transfer review of how likely we think the story is, and the story was that he's going to Barcelona, and I felt it kind of made sense at the time. He wasn't always getting a lot of games. He hadn't played a lot this season for United. He played some games, and also Barcelona, big club, looking for a big signing. Cavani going there kind of made sense to me, but things have changed slightly in the fact that they've bought in Ferran Torres. Now, you look at it and you go, okay, they've got Torres now. Do they really need Edinson Cavani? I think they could still do that. They could still look at it and go, okay, Ferran Torres is a very good player. He's a Spanish international. He's doing well earlier this season for Manchester City. Still quite young, relatively inexperienced. And if you want someone who can come in for the rest of the season, perhaps, with that experience, with a proven track record of scoring lots of goals, maybe Edinson Cavani comes in and he can play alongside or as a sort of another option to Torres at Barcelona. Who knows? It could happen. But the latest story doing the rounds, I think this was in the Daily Stand, it's been in other places as well, other papers, as well, is that if Cavani goes, it's emanated, I think, from L'Equipe in France. If Cavani goes and Martial goes, so that's two big ifs, but potentially could happen, then Icardi could come in. Mauro Icardi, obviously, a player with, a proven sort of track record, and I think, what is he now? He's 28, so he's not old, but he's experienced, I think is the right way to put it. He's at PSG, isn't he? So he's done okay. I mean, he scored some goals. He's not like he's a prolific type of player, and would that make sense? Icardi coming in, Cavani going, Martial going? Possibly. It's one of those where you think maybe. You'd file it into the maybe column, wouldn't you? I don't think it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely going to happen. I mean, there's still a doubt as to whether United are even going to bring in anyone in the summer, and in the January transfer window, And you would think our priority would be a midfielder. But this is Manchester United. We have been linked with the likes of the young kid from South America, Julian Alvarez. We've been linked with Icardi, been linked with one or two other players. So you never quite know which way this could go for Manchester United. But yeah, L'Equipe saying that potentially PSG star Icardi is being considered as a possible replacement if both Cavani and fellow once-away star Anthony Martial decide to leave Old Trafford. Now, let's not forget, Ralph Rangnick did come out and say how he wants to keep Cavani. He said that. And he also stuck with him. I know it's not the be-all and end-all, but he stuck with him, didn't he, against Wolves when a lot of people thought he was going to get subbed, and he took off Mason Greenwood. And he said Rangnick, didn't he? It was between Greenwood and Cavani, and I decided to take off Greenwood and stick with Cavani. So he's shown a little bit of faith in Cavani, and I don't know whether that means that Cavani's going to say, right, okay, this is it. I mean, he has still got a contract. It doesn't run out till the summer, so he may well be here till the summer. But we'll wait and see what happens. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you want to see Cavani stay? Do you want to see Anthony Martial stay? Do you want to see them both go? Do you want to see one of them go? Do you rate Icardi? Is he a player that you'd like to see? Rusty Sawblade says, get your Swiss Army Parker on and get yourself outside OTJ, you big wuss. Rain emoji. Yeah, don't worry. I'll be back outside Old Trafford very, very soon. Don't you worry about that. A bit harsh, that big wuss on a Friday morning, eh? Seriously. Shall we move on to a Paul Labille Pogba story? Because we've not had one for about 8 hours, so why not? The latest sort of story doing the rounds, I've seen this in a few various publications, is that United are willing to offer, you can see it behind me, £500,000 to stay, which would make him, I think, is that the highest paid player in the history of association football? Well, maybe not, but, very highly paid, probably certainly the highest paid I think United have ever had. The Paul Pogba story has just been going on forever. I remember talking about Paul Pogba going on staying in 2011, and obviously he went to Juve. We got him back in 2016. Ever since he's been back, about 2 seasons into his return, he's been linked with another move away. His contract is now almost at an end. He can sign a contract with foreign clubs if he wants to. He could sign an agreement with someone if he wanted to. Now, he doesn't have to wait till the summer if he wanted to sign for PSG or something like that. Or he could sign for Manchester United, or he could wait until the summer and go and sign for anyone, including other English clubs, if someone came in for him. Now, the thing with Pogba is, I just feel like you just never know. 1 minute it looks like he's destined to leave. The next minute it looks like he's open to staying. At the minute, the latest update is that United have offered him this £500,000 a week deal to try and get him to stay. Ragnick said not long ago, didn't he? He said about sort of not convincing players who didn't want to be here to try and stay. Now, that might sound like a little bit of a contradiction because he did try and sort of convince Edinson Cavani to stay from what we gather. But with Pogba, I just don't know. I've always had the feeling that he eventually will move on. And I think he'll move on now because he's, 28? I just feel he'll move on while he's still got one big move in terms of money and stuff left in him. He's also got Mino Raiola in his ear, so Mino Raiola's going to obviously want to get the most money he can, not for his client, but for basically Mino Raiola. So I just think we're kidding ourselves a little bit that Paul Pogba's going to stay. Stranger things have happened, but I think he's destined to move on. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think Pogba should stay? Do you want to see us keep him? He's obviously a very talented footballer. There's question marks about his consistency. There's question marks about whether it's all chicken and the egg thing with Paul Pogba, isn't it? Is it the fact that United didn't build a team around him, giving the players that he deserves around him, or did he just not step up? I think there's been times when Paul Pogba's had a decent team around him. I do. I think there's times when he's not. He's had times when he's had no disrespect to him, the likes of Pereira and an out of form Jesse Lingard at times as well. I know Jesse Lingard's found his form at various stages in his career. But there was a time when you looked at our midfield and you thought, well, you take Paul Pogba out of our midfield, it's very weak. Put him in, it looks a lot stronger. However, there have been times when I think we've had a really good team around Paul Pogba. I like Paul Pogba. The problem I've got with him is just his injury record isn't great. He misses a lot of games. I think he's missed about a quarter of games, and he misses some important chunks of the season as well. And I don't think that's anything down. His attitude has been questioned by some people. I think that's just the nature of his body. He just gets injured, and that's one concern. I don't think there's much you can do about that. So we'll wait and see what happens with it. Let us know. There's lots of people in the comments. Anthony Farrow says 500k to put his feet up in Dubai. Vandit Biani says I will sell Pogba for 20 mil. Callum Mulcahy says, those wages, we could get a really good 6 and 8. Alucard says he can go, too much money. There's quite a lot of people saying Pogba could go. I mean, I'm surprised that because Paul Pogba's always been a relatively popular player with a lot of Manchester United fans. He's been quite divisive, and there's been a segment of United fans who've never fully embraced him since his return, or certainly not in the last couple of years when he's had these sort of fallouts with certain managers. And I think he suffers a little bit from OTT criticism at times. I think he becomes like the one that everyone focuses on, especially some of the pundits. But I think sometimes the criticism he does get, especially from certain United fans, can be justified, because I think a player of that talent should be performing at a higher level more regularly than he does. I don't think that's the most outrageous sort of thing you can say about Paul Pogba. I think that we have seen a lot of good performances from him, but we've seen some average ones. And I like to see big players step up in big games. And yes, you can point lots of fingers at different players, but the Europa League final, for example, Paul Pogba was non-existent in that game. You go, okay, well, what about him? What about him? But are the other players at the calibre of Paul Pogba? No, they're not. So that's why I look to my big players to try and do something in big games. Paul Pogba did it in 2017 in Stockholm. He didn't do it against Villarreal. Alan says, how many games has Pogba been injured in inverted commas? Maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age. I always give players the benefit of the doubt. If there is a doubt, and when they say they're injured, I believe they are injured. I think the problem with Paul Pogba is what we've had is when he is injured, he tends to go abroad to do his rehab and stuff, and a lot of people don't like that. I remember being at a press conference a few years ago, and Jose Mourinho made out like he didn't know where he was. He was asked about Paul Pogba, and I said, I don't know where he is. I think he might be in America. How can you not know where your biggest signing is, your star player is? So, yeah, I think that sometimes rubs people up the wrong way. When we see these Instagram posts of him in Dubai, whatever, some people lose their mind over that. I don't really care where he is. I just want him back in a Manchester United shirt, play for Manchester United. As long as he's our player, I think we're a better team, certainly a better squad when we've got Paul Pogba available. And that's the most frustrating thing for me, especially when we're going through this tough time, is we haven't got one of our best players available. So that's not good enough, and we need to sort it out. I mean, I don't know how you can sort it out. If he's injured, but something needs to change. Wilhelm Tanner says, great to see your beautiful bald head back on the channel, Jay. Up the RH. Thank you for that. Yep, up the RH. We'll be back with the preview for the Villa game. We've got the brew as well later on, and we'll also have on Monday we'll have the watch along and all that stuff for the FA. Is it the FA Cup game, innit, against Villa? Sorry? Yeah, the FA Cup game against Villa. They've got a manager, haven't they, who used to play for Liverpool. He used to fall over a lot and cost them league titles. I can't remember his name. You know who it is. So, yeah, we'll have all that stuff. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out the member section as well. And give us a like. Hit that like. I've only just realised I've got 73 likes there. Over 600 people watching. That's a bit embarrassing, isn't it, for me? I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk, live from the studio. Thanks for watching.